Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Redeem Her Time podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how to reclaim the four types of time when you live an identity. Did you even know there were four types of time? I'm super curious about the four types of time, and I've got my friend Shan Wright with us today. So, Shan, I'm so excited to welcome you to the Redeem Her Time podcast. We've had an opportunity to swap on your podcast, so make sure you tell us about your podcast. But tell us about you. Like, what all are you juggling in this season of life? And then we want to hear about the work you do.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me. Okay, yes, I have a podcast. It's called The Holistic Moms, How to Live Intentionally with Less Stress. And I am a mom to four. So I have 12, 10, 8, and 5-year olds. And we're in that season. I love this season actually. They're into activities and sports, and it's really fun. And I get to have a lot of my own time. So my youngest just went off to kindergarten
And
in
you have
August.
twins at the end? Is that what you said? Fives? Like,
No, no.
okay. Okay.
I have four kids. So my
Got it.
5-year-old,
Got it.
yes, he went off to kindergarten this August. And so now I am like in this new season. And it actually took me by a surprise a minute. I was shocked because I've been waiting for this season, but I didn't realize I was in that last one for 12 years and it
Yes.
was precious and now it's over.
Mm.
And now I get to be a working mom. I'm a nurse, and so I've done traditional nursing for 10 years before kids. And then I always thought I'd go back to some kind of nursing with my kids, like probably school nursing or at a pediatrician's office or something like that. Like not as stressful as the hospital, but in nursing. Well,
Mm.
God had other plans. And so I am now practicing as a nurse life coach. So, keeping my nursing license and using that experience and knowledge and skills that I have from nursing and seeing holistic wellness, but in a life coach role. And so I hope work people through their transformations, and it's amazing. I love it. And I know I was meant to do this. So
Isn't
that's what
it
I'm
so
doing
fun?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how God takes us on a journey, right? And it's like, here is where I was, in this season of life, and then it looks like this, and then I think it's going to look like this, but then how God even took something from, these other season times in your life and brought it together into what you're doing now. So
Yes.
take us a little bit on that journey. I want to hear more about like how God showed you that there are four time buckets. I know there's always a personal story in what we do. We
Yeah.
don't just show up one day saying, I'm going to teach you how to do this. It's usually
Yeah.
through our own figuring out the hard
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to try to make this a long story short, but I am a podcaster. So that
right? We
always
love to
doesn't always
talk,
happen.
don't we?
But I guess I'll take you to just childhood. I grew up as one of five, and I was in a little bit of a chaotic childhood, broken family. And so there was a lot of moving parts. And I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I didn't want to create any more waves. So I was the middle of five, although me and my brothers had a different dad. So I was also the oldest. I felt this responsibility to be the good girl and not make my parents upset in any way, not add any more stress to their life. So I was labeled as shy, and I was labeled as good and a perfectionist. And I just ran with that. I was like, well, those things are going to take me far. So I'm going to live up to those labels, right? I'm going to get straight A's. I'm going to be the good friend. I'm going to be the good daughter. Not going to I'm going to be a good student. I'm not going to like need my mom to help me with my homework or my test or anything. Um Good athlete, like all the things. And it took me to high school. I mean to college where I got my first C. I went into nursing school and got my first C. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it brought so much anxiety. I didn't know, and I still wouldn't know for a while, but that all that living under that perfectionism as a child was a form of anxiety. I just
Mm,
thought this is a good way to live life. Like this is getting me good things. It's getting me good places, and I'm not making anyone mad, and I'm
yeah.
not disappointing people. And you know, I didn't see anything wrong with it, but I didn't know that it was whoa, it was a very anxious way to live until I got my first C. And I struggled my way through the first 3 years of college. And then my senior year, I went to my advisor and I was like, I'm really scared I'm not going to pass. And I just thought I had test anxiety. So she's had me go to the counselor, and I had my first session with the school counselor, and she was like, so tell me about your childhood. I was like, oh no, I just have test anxiety. I just need to pass nursing school. And she's like, well, tell me about, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she helped me
I don't have
see
time for
that
this.
like it was my whole life and I was dealing with this. And I still, I mean, I was what, 21? I still didn't like grasp it. I was just like, okay, so I mean, I have an anxious personality. I mean, I'm still okay, right? I'm still doing things. I'm going to pass nursing school, and that's all I really need to know. She was like, let me see your schedule. Where do you have fun on this planner? Because I had like eating, shower, like one time a week I would watch a TV show with my roommate. Like I was scheduled out. And she was like, I need you to schedule fun on the weekend. You're a college student. So anyway, she did help me a lot, but I made it through nursing school, and I just, kind of put what I learned about myself kind of in the review. And I was just like, okay, I'm now an adult. I'm a nurse. I'm going to go into this. And I was still very anxious, and I just managed it with coping mechanisms that were probably not the healthiest, and just, you know, went in and just tried to deal with it, right? Just tried to do life. And I was like, this is really hard, but just try to do life. I went off and became a travel nurse, and I loved nursing. I knew I was supposed to be a nurse, but I just was trying to find my way in the world, right? I ended up meeting my husband in San Francisco. We stayed in California for a while. Then we moved back, had a couple kids, and nursing had to be put on the back burner. I realized it was a precious, sacred season to be a stay-at-home mom. And that was hard for me to do. But when I did it, I thought nursing was like stressing me out and where a lot of anxiety was, because it's a stressful job. But when I did that and realized, oh, I'm still a perfectionist, I'm still
Mhm.
anxious and stressed out. Maybe it's not the job. Maybe it's me. And so it was like a process. Like God was just like opening my eyes more and more each time. Well, it didn't take till the third kid, finally, the third kid. I was driving to a postpartum appointment, and I was listening to a podcast where someone was describing her postpartum anxiety, and I started crying, and I was like, I think that's me. Like she is saying all the things I feel. So I went into my appointment and I said to the doctor, I was like, I think I have postpartum anxiety. And she was like, okay. So like she just let me cry, and we talked through it. Of course, she offered medication, but I was like, no, I just need to like sit with this. Like this is, I feel like I'm just realizing something that's been going on my whole life, right? And I had it all the other children too. I just didn't realize it. So I go back home and I have some time with God, and I just, it's so vivid. I'm in this chair that's right here in my office, and I have my baby on my chest, my baby boy, and I'm just crying out to God. And I'm like, God, I need your help. Like, yeah, I might be a little anxious, but I just need help doing all these things, and I won't feel so anxious. I think this postpartum anxiety will go away if I get some help with running this perfect home and raising these perfect kids. And this actually had a business at the time that I was trying to run this business postpartum with baby number 3, and I wanted everything to be perfect, and I was like, I need help with all this stuff, and perfect marriage and all the things. And God said no. And I was like, what? What? I need help. He's like, no. And he said, um, no, you just need to do these 4 things. If you do these 4 things, it will bring you peace. And fast forward, that was baby number 3. He is now 8 years old. And this, I don't know, a few months ago, like literally a few months ago, I was in, I'm trying to think of the reference, but I think it's in Luke. It's when Jesus is with Mary and Martha, and it's the
Mhm.
classic story. I think it's probably in a few gospels, but I was in it in a church conference, and I've read this story many times. But Martha, and I guess it probably came to light for me even more when I watched this story on The Chosen. But
Mm.
Martha's running around, and she is stressed out. And Mary is sitting
Yeah.
at Jesus's feet, listening to what he has to say. He just came to their home with the disciples and he's been traveling. And she's like, Jesus is in our home and let me sit at his feet and just, savor this. And Martha is running around trying to be the very good hostess and do all the things that she thinks she has to do, the responsibility, and she is getting them food and preparing things. And she finally gets so frustrated that she comes to Jesus and she's like, help me, which is exactly my prayer to God. Help me do all these things that I am responsible to do, that I feel like I have to do. And Jesus tells her, Martha, Martha, you're worried about many things, but only a few things are needed. Indeed, only one. And
Mm.
that is the exact response that God gave me. Shan, no, I'm not going to help you with all those things because I don't want you to do all those things. There's only four things, a few things that you need, but indeed only one. So that led me to my breakthrough of burnout moment, which is now, and that was I guess 8 years ago. But slowly but surely, God let me see that is my purpose. That is my identity, is to be a wisdom sharer, to share that wisdom of how to use your time purposefully and in your identity to help others. And so now I am still a nurse, but I'm a nurse coach because I help women and moms and nurses and caregivers that felt just like I did and get out of burnout and see there's only a few things you need to worry about and pay attention to and not worry, just like put your focus on and you will have peace because that
Mm.
God doesn't want you to be stressed out because it's taking away from your identity when you do that. So that's my story in a nutshell.
I love that. Stress takes away from our identity, right? And I've just been going through
Yes.
some training about how so often when we want to change things, we focus on the low levels of change. I'm changing my circumstance, I'm changing my behavior, right? But it's really when we change our identity,
Yeah.
when we are like starting to really live the way that God has designed us to live in the kingdom, that we experience the true change, the hope, the peace, all of that. And so I love this. Like
Yeah.
stress takes away the identity because I can't live the way God designed me. Like it's like stress and these fruits of the spirit don't coincide. They can't be in the same container.
Yeah.
So that was just really powerful mic
Yeah.
drop there that I love in that. And like I can so resonate. I've shared my story with you, being in the doctor's
Yeah.
office, being offered a prescription for my anxiety and
Yeah.
knowing in that moment it would be my Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And there were much deeper root issues that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Because otherwise, like we're on a one-way track to burnout. And it's just a matter of time at that point, in a bad way, before, we are on the floor and not able to be the caregiver or, fill in the role of whatever that is that we are called to. So I want to dive
Mhm.
into this real quick. And then of course I want to circle back to those four buckets because I want to know what the
Yeah.
four buckets are and things like that. But before we go there, like burnout is a real thing. It's
Yeah.
not like, it's one of those things like, I love how you discovered it wasn't just because of the context you were in. It wasn't just because of nursing school. It wasn't just because of your nursing
Yeah.
job. It wasn't just because of your kids. Like it's always it's because it's coming inside of here. So
Yeah.
like, why is this something that we so easily, as women who are designed to caretake and nurture, why
Mhm.
are we so susceptible to burnout?
Yeah. Well, so as a nurse, I feel like I was in burnout very early, which some people are under the belief that you need a few years under your belt before you can say you're in burnout. And I'm like, no, because I was already carrying such a high stress load. So I like to look at the Yerkes-Dodson law, which is the stress curve. And if you are at the bottom of the curve, no stress at all, you're barely breathing. Like your
Okay.
body isn't really functioning because stress is good. We have a nervous system.
Sure.
And if we're not doing anything, our nervous system's not working. Then you go up the curve. At the top, that's actually optimal stress level. You are winning the race. You are having that mom win. You are feeling really good. All your ducks are in a row. You feel
Mm.
really good. That's a good place to be. You have a good amount of stress going through your body. Your nervous system is going back and forth from sympathetic nervous system to your parasympathetic. You're able to rest, digest. Your nutrition's good. Your digestion's good. Your energy level's good. That's a good place. right after that, I'm talking if we just have one more little notch on that stress load in that stress bucket, one more pile, we're in fatigue.
Mm.
We are tired. Our body needs to switch back to the parasympathetic. And if we don't get there, and if it takes us longer to get there, then it just keeps piling on. And so then we go down, we go down the hill, the slope into burnout. And so before we get to burnout is, again, exhaustion, fatigue, anxiety, anger, these symptoms that come out, these ways that we try to cope with the stress and, uh, you know, all these negative emotions. And then it leads down to burnout. And once we're down there, it's going to be harder to get back up to optimal level. So, but it's possible. It's just that we all have like a stress threshold. And yes, it looks different for different bodies and different people because of the all the different wellness systems that we have in our body system. So we have different stress responses at different levels. Like it's like it's, again, a threshold. So someone's threshold might be higher than someone else's. That means that they can carry more stress, and they're a nurse. They are a caregiver. They're a healthcare professional. They're in a busy, stressful job, but they're able to manage that because they know how to take out their stress bucket. They know how to empty their bucket when they're done with their shift. They know how to get to their parasympathetic. They know how to fuel their body with rest and sleep and food that's good for them. They have learned how to manage that stress load. And I say manage because you picturing a bucket and you are like emptying it out. You know how to reduce this level, right? But when we don't do that, and it just takes one day, really, if we don't do that, then it continues to compound, and that leads us into burnout. So for me, it was all mental. I was, as a child, having to live up to this standard of excellence that no one should have to live up to. And I was in constant state of anxiety, which is down the slope close to burnout. So it just took one more pile of stress on top of me to let me crash into burnout. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. And I think so
Yeah.
many people listening are like, yeah, I'm on that that
Hmm.
downturn right there, right? Which is not where we want to stay. So
Mm-mm.
how do we, and I'm assuming this is where the buckets come in, right? Like, so let's kind of circle back to that. How do we start to not just avoid burnout, but actually reclaim our time when we understand these four buckets around our time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like I said in that prayer, that time with God, there's a few, and what he said to Martha, there are a few things needed, but indeed only one. The one time, of course, is time with him. That is the most precious time. So when we look at a lot of our stress, it's related to, which you know this, you coach on this, you teach this all the time. It's related to time. If we don't feel like we have enough time to do something or to be somewhere or to have something, like it's all related to, or just like these dreams and passions that we have. We're like, oh, am I ever going to get there? Like we can look at time in like a macro and also a micro. And no matter what it is, we're stressed about time. And so if we stay stressed about time and say, well, I don't have enough time to spend with God because the kids woke up early
Mm.
and now I da 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 da. Well, then you're gonna have more stress. So the first thing is time with God. It needs to be a priority. So that's the other thing is we have the same 24 hours, but what are you prioritizing to fill those 24 hours?
Mm.
And that's what was happening to me. I had way too many priorities and my priorities were out of whack because it was like how can I be perfect at all of these things at once? And God's like, you cannot.
Yeah.
I don't call you to do that, and you don't have to do that. You don't have the responsibility to do that. I didn't put that on you. You put that on yourself. And so take that away. Number one, I need to be first, and I'm going to help you get all your other time buckets in check. So the first thing is spending time with God. If you spend time with God, you will have more time.
Mm.
because it's going to shift your mindset on the time you've been given. You're going to look at yourself as a steward of God's gifts, not as someone who is a human doing, but a human being. And we have to be with him first. You're going to learn about your identity. You're going to learn about your purpose on this in this one precious life. It all comes back to that.
Mm.
The number one is time with God. However and whenever you get it, it needs to be the priority. And then number two is time with yourself. So when God had this little heart to heart with me, it was, I want you to spend time with me. I know you have 3 kids and you're trying to balance all these things, but you need to spend that time with me every day. Okay. Number two, I want you to move your body 30 minutes a day because I was in postpartum. So my body, it was crazy, right? So he gave me one baby step. I want you to move your body 30 minutes a day. It might be different for you, no matter wherever you are in your season of health and wellness and fitness level. But you need to spend time with your body, connecting your mind and body and soul. And I mean, this could be sleep. Your goal and your action step will change in seasons, is
Mm.
what I'm saying. But it needs to be like this self-care. It needs to be kind of like that. You are caring for yourself. You need to be a priority to yourself. Again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you need to be a priority, right? And then number three is time with your family. So he told me you need to spend some date nights. You guys are in a busy season of 3 little babies, but you need to spend time with your husband. It might not be out of the house, but it needs to be dedicated time with just him. And so, and then as the kids grew, we started dating our kids. So it's all about family time. It's, you are given this nuclear family, whether it's just a spouse or whether it's, maybe you're not married at all. Maybe you don't have any kids, but you have a parents that you came from, or you have a sister, or you have a sibling, you have a cousin, you have family in your life. That you have your people, whoever your people are, you need to be in community with them. You need to be in relation with them. You need to make that a priority. As you get older in life, and I think we all can agree with this, we learn that family is so important. And so it was, it was just getting crazy when I was trying to do all the things. It's like, stop trying to do this business and postpartum. Like, pay attention just to your kids and your husband right now. That's all you need to do. And then the fourth one is social, your social time, your purpose on this earth. How are you sharing the gifts, talents, and abilities that he's entrusted to you with others? This is living out your identity. So you're going to find your identity by spending time with him, and then you're going to live it out in the world. You're not going to keep it inside. Remember, way back in my story, I was told that I was shy. Well, part of God getting me out of this burnout was him revealing my identity to me, and it started with him telling me, you are not shy. You
Ah.
are bold, strong, and courageous. And that was the first step. Then he led me into confidence. Then he led me into peace. And he said, I need you to share peace with others. You are a peaceful spokesperson. You're my peaceful spokesperson. And that brought me to podcasting and being a coach and sharing my voice. And so it's all like a ripple effect but it comes back to identity. If you live under these labels that you are not, you have to find out from God, who did you make me to be? That's your identity. And then you live in that, and then you share that with the world.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And you're right. I mean, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, at the end of life, these are the four things that are going to matter.
Right.
These are the four areas where we're going to be like, you won't say, I wish I would have spent more time fill in the blank, watching that Netflix series, cleaning out my closet, just kind of those sometimes random things that feel, so important in the moment or things like that. But it's going to be, yeah, I wish I would have spent more time doing these very things. And then, so like, let's kind of tie this together real quick. And then,
Yeah.
like, how does doing this work and focusing on these four areas? We always talk about the ROTI, return on time invested. So when we are investing time in these four areas, how does it keep us from the burnout? Right? Because obviously, if we're burned out, we're not gonna be able to do it probably any of these or any of them well, right? So we want to
Mhm.
avoid that. So like yeah, how does that tie back into this being the way that we avoid getting to that place?
Yeah. Well, again, I think a lot of times we feel short on time, like we don't have enough time, like we are stressed out about time because we don't have the right mindset of time and we don't have our priorities in check. So when we feel like we are in a burnout season or we're creeping towards burnout and we feel like, wow, I am stressed out. Maybe you're doing really good. This happened to me. Actually, I'll just share a personal story. This happened to me this summer. Doing really good. I'm a coach for this kind of stuff, right? Like I have my rhythms in check, my rest rhythms. I know how to rest. I know how to switch back to my parasympathetic nervous system on a very regular basis. I know how to do this. I was doing good, but came summer crazy, I call it, because summer is just wild because your routines are off. So you're like, well, I do this at this time and then this and
Mhm.
this and this. And it's like, no, you don't, because your kids are home and they want this and they want to go here and they want to do that. And so everything's off and everyone's temperament is a little off, a little too much sugar, a little less sleep. Like
Yep.
everyone's just crazy. And then we had a family trauma. So trauma
Mhm.
comes. Trauma is a stress. It is
Yeah.
a big stress. And so trauma comes. How am I going to deal with it? Well, my my stress load was getting a little bit higher already because of the summer. And so when that trauma came, just put me right into burnout. And it
Mm.
hit me hard because I was like, I beat this lots of times. What's wrong? And I was doing all my things and I was like, I'm feeling better for a moment, but I'm not really better. I know deep down I'm not better. And what it took was something that I already had planned, which you talk about planning. I had planned to go away to camp. And so I actually went away, and that led me to solitude and silence, which is what I needed. I needed just no noise, and I needed it to be with the creator. And so that was what I needed in that time. And I needed an extended amount of it. So that brings me back to you feel like you are creeping up on this burnout or you're in anxiety and you're like, I don't know how to get my stress under control. It might be a different kind of rest that you're not used to. It might be doing something out of the normal, like going deeper into uh, one of your resting techniques, like going away for a night at a hotel, saying, husband, I just need a night away, or going on a girls trip, or going to stay with your parents, or going for a 5 hour walk. Like it might be different than your normal, but your body is telling you something and you need to listen to it. So you need to go to your creator. God, what do I need right now? What do I need to know about this stress that's going on? And what do I need to do about it? And I call that the no do prayer. I feel like every time I go to God and I ask him, what do I need to know and what do I need to do?
Mm.
He answers. And so we're going to have stress curveballs thrown at us all the time. And so we just go to him and say, God, I'm feeling this stress. What do I do in this? What do I need to know that my little human brain can handle? What do I need to know? And then what do I need to do? He's going to tell you the next small step to take that you can handle to get you back up that mountain to optimal stress level.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. The no do prayer, right? So
Mhm.
simple. And yet it takes time to number one, recognize like I need to go get away and I need to be praying this. I need to sit and listen and be
Yeah.
quiet and not just jump into whatever this is. I
Yeah.
love this. I mean, this is a deep topic, obviously, Shan. Like we could talk, on and on
Yeah.
about this. So I know people are listening right now and they're like, okay, I need some Shan in my life, right? Like, so where can people find you and what is a good next step for someone to take if they really want to see some change happen in this area of their life?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I actually have, because a lot of people, and this is where I was like, am I in burnout? I don't know. I don't know if this is normal life. I don't know if this is just how adulthood is. I don't know if this is just normal. Um, and so if you're asking that question and you just need a little confirmation of where you are on this stress cycle or in the stress curve, I have a quiz and it's called Am I in Burnout Quiz. And you can find that at theshanwright.com/quiz. And it will lead you a few simple questions, and then it's going to tell you where you are on the stress curve, if you're headed to burnout, if you're there, and then what to do next. That's what I want you to do. I want you to just to take my coaching and my experience of already being in burnout several times on the next step. Wherever you land on that quiz, it's going to give you a next step. I want you to do that next step because that is the courageous action. God's always calling us into courage, not to sit back and just life hit us like a ton of bricks and just stay down. He wants us to get up and take courage because he's with us. So we don't have anything to fear. We just take the next bold step into the action that he's called us to. And so if you're taking that quiz, do the next step because that's God gently nudging you into healing. And so you can find me there. I also have a group coaching program called the Bold Blueprint, where we talk about these 4 buckets of time and practically work them out together. And then I have one-on-one coaching as well.
Yeah, I love it. We'll make sure to link to that stuff in the show notes. And my audience knows we always keep the conversation going over inside the Redeem Her Time community. So inviting Shan to come join us, inviting everyone listening. And I have a feeling this is an episode you're going to want to share with a friend who's also somewhere on this curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, girl, you need to hear this. So share this episode with her. And then let's all go hang out together inside the Redeem Her Time community. I'll link that in the show notes. It's
Yeah.
redeemhertime.com/community where we can, yeah, be real about where we are and hold each other, accountable and encourage each other to take that next step after we take the quiz and see where we're at. So
Yeah.
we will see everyone over there. So come and find us and bring your friends with, and yeah, let's not let burnout be what defines us, right? But let's really be living the way that God designed us to in our relationship with Him, our relationship with ourselves, with our family, and then the purpose that He's given us with others outside of us. So thanks,
Yeah.
Shan, for telling us,
Amen.
sharing with us
Yeah.
today. I love your story and your expertise, and I know it's going to be a blessing to many.
Thanks for having me.